And this Sunday, a program that I think you're going to find disturbing, thought-provoking, and I hope you have a lot of questions after the program airs about how justice might be conducted in this country over an issue that many feel can be a civil issue, let's call it, and there's more involved than that. And we had the privilege of having Lyn Ulbricht, who is the mother of Ross Ulbricht. For those of you in the Texas area, he was a student at the University of North Texas, someone who knew technology well, a lover of freedom, and he had some ideas that he wanted to implement that have cost him and the family, and maybe our society, quite a bit. And we're going to be talking about that to bring it up to date, because since that program was taped, a lot has happened on the Ross Ulbricht side that I know that you want to hear about. So joining me on this particular call is Lyn Ulbricht. And Lyn, you did not intend to become all of this, but from my understanding, you've become quite an activist, and you're the CEO of the freeross.org, which is an organization that is really trying to get information out about what happened and what citizens can do about this. Is that about right?
Yeah, that is about right, Nikki. Thank you. You know, you become an activist when you see up close and personal how the government operates. I was not a big fan of big government before, but I was shocked. I was shocked at the trial. I'm shocked at the corruption in the investigation that wasn't allowed to be known to the jury. I've been shocked at many things, and I'm very concerned about the precedents that are being set here. And I feel like there's been a lot of distractions with the sensationalism of the case that really cloud what really matters here.
And Lyn, I want to go into that a little bit more. We have someone else on the call I'd like to introduce, and that's Terry Brock. Terry Brock is an international marketing consultant. And as it relates to Ross Ulbricht and the appeal and what happened in this particular case, Terry, my understanding is that you were the host, the moderator, you helped get off the ground a free Rossathon. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct. It was held over Google Hangouts and sent it out to people around the world. We had 14,000 people joining us. And we were able to raise over $50,000 that went 100% to the defense fund of Ross Ulbricht and make a positive difference. I think that says there's a lot of people that feel strongly about this case, and I was just honored to be able to work with Lyn on that, and together we did it for 8 hours on video. That was pretty good right there.
That's amazing just in itself. Now, my curiosity here is you became involved in this because I understand that you're a real lover of freedom, very much into civil liberties. Tell us a little bit more about why you got involved in this and you spent so much time and energy making sure that this message got to so many people.
Well, I do feel very strongly about it because I feel that people should be free to live their lives the way they want, as long as they're not harming someone else. And I see in the situation with Ross Ulbricht, here's a person, he's wonderfully kind. Everyone who has known him and interviewed throughout his life has said, Ross is a wonderful guy. He's very kind. I've seen that myself, having met Ross and spent time with him. And he's also a genius. He knows a lot. He built a website. And because he built a website that some people didn't care for, they have not only charged him with a terrible crime, and they have also sentenced him now to 2 life sentences with no chance of parole, and an additional 40 years, and an additional over $300 million fine. I feel strongly about it. Many other people do too, that we really need to free Ross.
So since this program was taped, a great deal has happened. And what I think I just heard you say is the appeal was denied, 2 life sentences and no chance of parole. Lyn, would you mind addressing that? I mean, how did something like this happen? How is it possible to have happened?
Well, that's a good question. And I wake up every morning and sometimes in the middle of the night thinking, is this real? Can this really be true? And to be clear, these are all nonviolent charges. But according to the Sentencing Project, There's 17,000 nonviolent offenders serving life in our prisons right now. Life sentences have quintupled in the past since the 80s, and it's out of control. And Ross is one of many people suffering from this out of control, broken criminal justice system. The way it happened as far as the appeal was the appellate court said, well, we might not have given that sentence, but it was within the judge's discretion to do so, and we have to uphold it. We differ. We are going to fight this. The next step is to appeal the appeals, so to speak, and to file a petition for a rehearing in the Second Circuit saying, okay, we got your message, but listen, we want to make these points and have you consider rehearing this. Please give it another thought, because, you know, of all the reasons that a sentence this barbaric, it should not be happening. However, I've been told the Second Circuit rarely rehears anything. And so the next option in the court system is to go to the Supreme Court, to be accepted by the Supreme Court. Now, that's not always easy either. It's not at all easy. It's 10,000 petitions a year, and they hear 85 of them. However, I think we have some very strong arguments, not just about the sentencing, but some other constitutional issues. And I'm hoping and praying that the Supreme Court will hear it. So this could go to the Supreme Court. And not just to help Ross, really. I hope and pray it does, not only for him, but for everyone who will be impacted by the decision.
Given the situation, and you know, Lyn, as a mother, I feel for you. I feel for the entire family. I mean, this is something that affects your life, your heart, yours and your family and friends, obviously, as well as Ross. And from an objective perspective, if there was anything that you could tell the American public, the people who are watching this particular program, what do they need to know in terms of what can they do to assure that justice is done in any case, not just this one? How can you help them?
Well, of course, we always need help, and you can go to freeross.org and help us push back on the drug war, which is really devastating and not stopping anyone from using drugs as far as I can see. It's causing untold suffering. I know the people in the prisons. I've gotten to know them, and I see the children who are devastated by this. These are nonviolent people. So helping us, and also, you know, going to your representatives. I know it's slow going in changing law, but I intend to be focusing on that as well. I also think that taking away parole, and it was removed in 1987 from the federal system, so that anyone who has a federal sentence has no chance of parole. This gives someone saying that it's the same person, that Ross is the same person when he's 29 and arrested as he'll be when he's 59. I mean, it's crazy, and it's so wrong, especially for nonviolent offenders, and doesn't give people a chance for restitution, recidivism, any of that. There's many things very un-American about what's going on in our criminal justice system and in our laws. And so, you know, of course, I'm focusing on our efforts, and we always need help. But I'd say spread the word, become more aware, support organizations that are fighting in Washington, and, you know, help us. And, you know, I have a big mouth, you know, just keep making people aware of what's going on, because I think a lot of people aren't.
Thank you very much for that. And Terry, from a very objective freedom, civil liberties, what might you add to that? What can the American public do to assure that justice, in any case, not just Ross's, with all due respect, but in any case, make sure that these things do not happen again?
Yeah, I think that's very important. And Lyn, you and I have talked about this a lot. This is about Ross, but it's much, much bigger than Ross. This is about the liberty and freedom we have as individuals, as people, to do what we want, and even more so, to make sure that just because someone transports something that we don't have the CEO of, for instance, FedEx, guilty of something that someone might send through FedEx. I don't want to get into all the details of it, but this issue is much larger than Ross alone, although we definitely want to see Ross freed on this. And I would say the key would be get active, pay attention. If you're watching this and wondering, I haven't heard about this, get to know it. Do some searches on the Silk Road, do some searches on Ross Ulbricht, and find out what has happened. And think about it. We want a peaceful solution, whatever it is. And people that are violent do need to be treated. But if someone is nonviolent, we have to step back and think, wait a minute, is this the right thing to do? And the majority of Americans, the vast majority of Americans would say, this is not right. When they look at it, really see the full picture and hear what's going on. So that's what I would say to those of you that are watching this. Do some research. Think about the morality of helping people who have been sentenced with an unjust sentence. We see that happen all the time. And do what you can, writing to those representatives that are at the local, state, and at the federal level that can make a difference on this. And getting over to freeross.org. That's FREEROSS.org. freeross.org. See what's going on, see the site, and find out for yourself what you can do about that.
Okay. Thank you both for your insight. Lyn?
Thank you, Niki.
Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you, everybody. Appreciate it.